Hello everyone. Let's start with the part 2 of demand and supply analysis, and today we'll be mainly studying about demand. Let's start by first understanding what is demand. Now, before understanding demand, let us understand how the demand is arising. The creation of demand. See, the creation of demand is happening because there is a need existing. There's a need that's existing that is leading to the creation of demand for certain commodities or services. For example, there is a need for clothing. So when there's a need for clothing, that leads to creation of demand for textiles, for sweaters, for shawls, or for any other product, churidar, pants, shirts. All this, why there's a demand for this? There's a demand for this because there's a need for it. So the need of the consumer is leading to the creation of demand for goods and services. So that is how the demand is created. Now let's understand what is this demand. Can we say that anything that we desire to have, if I desire to have to own an aeroplane, will that lead to, will that be called as demand for aeroplane? For example, let us take another example. Let's say today I am having a desire to own a building worth 50 lakhs, and I do not have the cash. I do not have the amount that is required to buy this particular building. And the cost of that building is 50 lakhs. So there's a desire to buy that building, but do I have the ability to buy it right now? No, I don't have. So that cannot be counted as a demand for the building. So when the demand for the building is calculated, will demand of the building will be calculated, only such demand would be taken into consideration in which there's a desire to have the commodity along with the ability to buy the commodity. There's desire to buy the commodity along with the ability to buy the commodity. So that is what is called as demand. So demand arises when there's a desire or when there's a willingness to have a goods, to have a commodity or service, as well as the ability to buy the commodity. Let's understand the law of demand. The law of demand states that there's an inverse relationship that's existing between price and the demand of a commodity, other things being constant. Now, what this law is trying to say? As per this law, as the price rises, as the price rises of a commodity, the demand for the commodity falls. And if the price of the commodity falls, then the demand rises. So there's an inverse relationship because with an increase in price, there's a decrease in demand. With a decrease in price, there's an increase in demand. So this is called as inverse relationship. There's an inverse relationship. And in these two, the price is the independent variable and the demand is the dependent variable. That is, the demand of a commodity is dependent on the price of the commodity, and demand for commodity is dependent on the price of the commodity, because we're saying that if the price rises, demand falls. If the price reduces, demand increases. So price becomes an independent variable and demand becomes a dependent variable. So that's why they're having a functional relationship. They're having a functional relationship because one is dependent and the other is independent. And another thing that we need to note is this particular law. This particular law demand holds true when the other things are, other factors are constant. Now, what are the other factors that are constant? That we'll be studying in the assumptions of the law of demand that we'll be seeing in the next slide. But let me give you an idea of it. Let's say there are other factors like income. Demand of a commodity is also based on an income of a person. Demand for a commodity is also based upon the price of the substitutes for this commodity. Demand for a commodity is even, somewhere connected to the price of the complements. So, like this, there are various other factors based on which the demand can be dependent. On which the demand can be dependent. Now, let's take an example. Let's say that I want to buy ice cream. Okay, I want to buy ice cream and I buy Arun ice cream. So I am buying Arun ice cream. So if the price of the Arun ice cream increases, then the demand for the Arun ice cream is decreasing. And if the price of the Arun ice cream is decreasing, then the demand is increasing. If the price of Arun ice cream, let's say, is 10 rupees, then I'm purchasing only one Arun ice cream in 1 week. If the price decreases to 5 rupees, then in 1 week, I start purchasing two Arun ice creams because I'm ready to spend 10 rupees no matter what. If the because if the price reduced, I'm getting more quantity at a reduced price, then I'm saying okay, I'll buy more of Arun ice cream. So what we saw that as the price increased, the demand of the Arun ice cream decreased, and as the price decreased, demand increased. Now let's say I was not working so many days. Now I got a job. So when I got a job, my income increased. So previously my income was zero. I used to survive on pocket money. Now my income has increased, and now I've got an income. So my income, let's say, is 20,000. So when I am having money to spend, now I go to the Arun ice cream. The price is 10 rupees. But since I am having more income, since I have more money to spend, I would buy 5 Arun ice creams. I'd buy 5 Arun ice creams a week. So here what has happened? Price is constant, but the demand for Arun ice creams per week has risen from my side. Why did that happen? It happened because my income increased. So when my income increased, suddenly I started demanding more of Arun ice creams. So, what we're learning from this? We are understanding that demand is dependent on various factors. One of the factors is price. The other factors can be income or the price of substitutes, etc. etc. There are a lot of factors. But in this law of demand, we are saying that let the other factors be constant. That means let the income be constant, let the taste and preferences be constant, let every other factor that is impacting the demand be constant, and then let's study the relationship between price and demand. That's what the law of demand does. And when we study this, we understand that there is an inverse relationship between price and demand when other factors are constant. Now let's understand the assumptions behind the law of demand. So the law of demand has got many assumptions. Some of the assumptions of law of demand are that income of the consumers is constant. So the income of the consumers is not changing, it is constant. The taste of the consumers is constant. The habits of the consumers is constant. The preferences of the consumers is constant. The price of substitutes is constant. The prices of complementary goods are constant. So why all these things are kept constant? So all these factors are kept constant because all these factors have an impact on demand, and we want to study the impact of only price on demand. We don't want to study in the law of demand. In the law of demand, we don't want to know how the other factors are having an impact on demand. We just want to know how the price is impacting demand. To study only the how the price is impacting demand, we are keeping every other factor constant, because these also impact demand in the real scenario. So, to understand how the price affects the demand, we need to keep every other factor affecting the demand constant so that we can focus only on the price of the commodity. That's why income, taste, price of substitutes, all these are kept constant. That's why all these are kept constant in order to give importance only to the price of only to give the importance only to the price of commodity, and to understand how only the price is impacting the demand. Okay, that's why everything is being kept constant and unchanged. Okay, now apart from this, the fourth assumption is there's no expectation of change in prices. See, if at all we are expecting that the price of the commodity is going to go up, if I know that tomorrow the price of a commodity is going to rise, then I'll buy a lot of commodities today. So demand is going to increase today because there's an expectation that tomorrow there will be an increase in price. So whenever there's an expectation with regard to increase of price or decrease of price, there is always there is always an impact on demand. So where there are expectation is always an impact on demand, and whatever is having an impact on demand, we are keeping it constant. That's why even in this case, as expectation of change in prices will have an impact on demand, we are keeping this also as constant and we're saying that there's no expectation of changes in prices at all. So even there is this particular factor is also being kept constant. That is, there's no expectations at all that the prices is going to increase or decrease. So the last assumption is the commodity in question is not an item having a prestige value. For example, let's say gold. The price is more only than the demand is more, right? If gold's price was as less as the price of bread or rice, would people buy gold? They would not. The gold is having the value that it has because it is something that is important, that is in which people are investing because it is something rare. So the greater the price, the greater demand. That is how it is in case of luxury goods. For example, if there's a luxury car, the luxury cars are in demand only when the price is high. If the price of a luxury car is low, then it will not have the demand in the luxury market because the price is low. So luxury goods is something that will have high prices. So greater the price, the greater will be the demand, or else there will be lower the price, there will be no demand for it. So here the commodity that we are considering for explaining the law of demand, that commodity cannot be a luxury good, because if it is a luxury good, then the price and the demand will not be inverse. They won't have an inverse relation. They will have a direct relation. So if it is a luxury good, then the price and the demand will have a direct relation. And if it is having a direct relation, a law of demand will fail, because we are studying in respect to normal goods. We are studying only with respect to normal goods and not with respect to luxury goods. So this also is one of the assumptions of law of demand, that the commodities question is not a luxury good. And why we're having this particular assumption, we're having this particular assumption because if it is a luxury good, the greater the price, okay, the greater the price, the more is the demand in case of luxury goods. So this is not what the law of demand states, because the law of demand is with respect to normal goods and not with respect to any goods having a prestige value. Let's understand the importance of law of demand. The first point. The first point is it is formed on the basis, that is, the law of demand is formed on the basis of law of diminishing marginal utility. So first let's understand what is law of diminishing marginal utility. Now let's say that we are buying one packet of lace. We ate this one packet of lace. Then I wanted more, so I bought another packet of lace. Then again I ate another packet of lace because my mother also bought a packet of lace thinking that I would like it. But then I am not able to complete this third lace packet entirely. So what is happening here? So when I ate my first packet, I felt like okay, I want little more and I bought the second packet. But here only when I was eating the second packet, I felt very satisfied. I just wanted to end it. By then, my mother came and gave me the third packet of lace. And this one I ate just for her sake, but I was not wanting to eat it because already I've eaten so many. I've already eaten two packets and I'm not wanting a third packet. But still, just to show her, I ate little, then I've left it. So here what can we notice? We are noticing that with every additional unit of lace, the marginal utility or the satisfaction level is falling. The marginal utility or the satisfaction level is falling. So first we had the first lace. We were satisfied. Then we had another lace. We were not as satisfied as this. Now let me rate my satisfaction. Now let's say I'm eating the first packet. I was so satisfied. I was very happy. So I'll give it 10 on 10. I was so satisfied, right? So I'm giving it a 10 on 10 rating. Now when it comes to second packet, I was happy having the second one, but towards the end I felt little full and I somehow ate it, though I didn't want to eat it. So let me give this a rating of 8 out of 10. It is not fully 10 out of 10. And this one, the third packet, there was a lot of struggle eating the third packet. So for this, let me give it a rating of 2 out of 10. So this is my satisfaction level. So what are we noticing over here? In here, we are noticing that initially I was fully satisfied with the first packet. In the second packet, my satisfaction level is 8 on 10. Third packet, I just don't want to eat this. So I'm giving a rating of 2 out of 10. So with every additional unit of Lays, my satisfaction level is dropping. Satisfaction is nothing but marginal utility. So as per the law of diminishing marginal utility, with every additional unit of a commodity or with every additional unit of a service, the satisfaction level of the marginal utility falls. So as the unit rises, the marginal utility falls. And now how is this particular law of diminishing marginal utility connected to the law of demand? Law of demand is based on the law of marginal utility. Now let's say the price of let's take it as Lay's itself. At 10 rupees, at 10 rupees, I am willing to buy one packet of Lays. Okay, 10 rupees I'm willing to buy one packet of Lays. At 9 rupees, I'm willing to buy, let's say, two packets. Okay, at 5 rupee, I'm willing to buy maybe four packets of Lays. So what's happening here? This is I'm explaining the law of demand here, right? This is the law of diminishing marginal utility. This is the law of demand. So at 10 rupees, I'm buying one packet. At 9 rupees, I'm buying two Lays. At 5 rupees, I'm buying four Lays. So as the price decreases, the demand increases. This is what the law of demand says, right? So now how do we connect law of marginal utility, diminishing marginal utility, and how do we connect the law of demand? The connection is really simple. What is happening is at every for every additional utility, like for every additional unit of Lays, we know that the marginal utility is falling. So let me say that I'm having 10 rupees. I'm eating one packet. I'll buy one packet of Lays. At this same 10 rupees, I'm not willing to eat two packets of Lays. Why? Because of the law of diminishing marginal utility. At 10 rupees, I'm eating only one packet of Lays and I'm not, thinking of buying two, three, four because the law of diminishing marginal utility is operating. But at 5 rupees, I'm ready to eat four packets of Lays. The main thing here to understand is as consumers are deriving less happiness from additional units of the commodity. Okay, as consumers derive less happiness from additional units of a commodity, they will be willing to buy a large commodity only at lesser prices. That means only if the prices are less, I am ready to buy more of the commodity. If the price is high, I don't want to buy that commodity. Okay, let's say we are at a price 9. At 9 rupee, I'm ready to buy two packets of Lays. With an increase in price, I would think, okay, anyhow, one packet is enough. Why am I buying one more packet? It's getting costly. So I'll just limit it to one. If the price is decreasing, if the price is decreasing rupee 5, I'll think that, okay, it has reduced so much. Let me buy two more packets. So what is happening here? What's happening here is that the consumers will be buying a larger quantity if the price decreases and they'll be buying lesser quantity if the price increases. Okay, they'll be buying lesser quantity if the price increases because the law of diminishing marginal utility. So I would think of buying an additional unit only if the price decreases. Otherwise, anyhow, I'm fully satisfied. Why would I buy another unit? For me to buy another unit, it becomes important that the price falls. Then I'll think of buying another unit. If the price falls even more, then I'll think of buying even more units, right? So for me to demand more, the price has to fall. because if the price is constant, I'm not ready to buy. I'm not at all wanting to buy if the price is constant, because the law of diminishing marginal utility is operating, because law of diminishing marginal utility is operating, and hence I would not want to, and hence I not want to buy it. Now let's understand the second point. The second point is, it is formed on the basis of consumption expenditure. That is the law of demand. The law of demand is formed on the basis of consumption expenditure. For this, we need to understand another law. See, the law of demand and the law of equi-marginal utility. Both of these laws, that is the law of demand and the law of equi-marginal utility, both provide the basis of how the consumer should spend his income on the purchase of various commodities. Now, if they don't know what is law of equi-marginal utility, let me explain the law of equi-marginal utility first. This particular law explains the relation between the consumption of two commodities or more than two commodities. They tries to find the combination of consumption of these products that will give optimum satisfaction, that will give optimum satisfactions. Let me just write it. This is, we're talking of law of equi-marginal utility. Law of equi-marginal utility. Okay, this is the law of equi-marginal utility that I just said. In this law, if there are okay, if there are two or more commodities, two or more there are two or more commodities, this particular law tries to find out the optimal combination that is going to give optimal satisfaction. Okay, it is going to find out the optimal combination of consumption of the two products or more than two products that would give optimum satisfaction. That is the law of equi-marginal utility. Okay, so now let's go back to this point. Law of demand and the law of equi-marginal utility, both of these laws are suggesting that when you're having an income, you should not spend it on one item. Instead, you should spend it on various items. You need to have more than, you should have a lot of purchases. What's actually being suggested here is that how the consumer should spend his income on the purchase of various commodities. For example, if I'm having, let's say, 20 rupees, let's say I'm having 20 rupees. This is my income. Should I use this entire 20 rupees just to buy, lace? I'll buy some, two packets of lace. One packet is 10 rupees. That is, too much, because if I'm doing this, what happens? I'm not having income to buy rest of the things. I would also need, let's say, food in the sense I would need raw this something like rice or dal. I need other items. Would need to pay my electricity bill, water bill. So all of these things also are there. So my entire income I can't just spend on buying one particular item or two products. I have to try to diversify, right? Try to diversify. That's how this particular point comes into existence. It is formed on the basis of the consumption expenditure. So the consumer would have a greater demand only if the prices are low. At lower prices, he would demand more. Okay, at higher prices, he demand less, because at higher prices, if the price is really high, the consumer even needs to buy other products. He has other expenditure, so he can't just spend on this particular item, right? On the particular commodity in question. The customer cannot spend only on the commodity in question. He has to spend on other things. So if at all the price is low, then he would think of spending on one particular commodity. Then he would think of buying more of a particular commodity because the price is low. But if the price is high, he'll think that, okay, I have income, I need to spend it on my kids education and other things also, so I can't spend my entire income on just this one commodity. So that's how the law of demand and the law of equi-marginal utility, both of these are suggesting that you need to that you need that at higher prices you shouldn't be buying a lot of products. That is, the demand has to be less at higher prices. The demand for the commodity in question has to be less, and at lower prices it can be the demand can be high. As the price is less, that means the expenditure would be less. That means the expenditure at lower price would be less, and thus at the lower price let the demand be high, because the income is not getting spent more in this case. The third point is that it is the basis. There is a law of demand is the basis of progressive taxation. What is progressive taxation? Progressive taxation, according to that, the rate of tax increases with the increase in income. The rate of tax increases with the increase in income. Let's understand this better. Now, how is law of demand connected to this? There's a very simple connection. Let's take an example to understand. Let's say there's one rich man. His name is P, and there's a poor person. His name is A. So this P, okay, for this P, he has to pay a greater tax. Let's say the government is charging him 5% tax. This is the rate of tax for P, and for A, let's say he's poor, so his tax is some 1%. So how is this connected to law of demand? That should be the next question. This is connected to law of demand because for P, for P, the marginal utility of money, for P, the marginal utility of money is less. The marginal utility of money is very less for P. The marginal utility is less, right? Why is the marginal utility of money less for P? The marginal utility of money is less for P because P is rich. See, before he was, let's say, he was paying 5 rupee. Before he was, let's say, he's paying 1 rupee tax. Now the government has decided that okay, we'll implement progressive taxation, and he's supposed to pay 4 more rupees and totally has to pay 5 rupees. For P, it doesn't matter because he's really rich and he's feeling that okay, 4 more rupees, not a big deal, I'll pay. So this particular attitude is because he has plenty of money. Since P has plenty of money, the marginal utility of money is very low for him. That is, with every additional unit of spending of money is not making much difference to him. But in case of A, who is very poor, if the tax is let's say 0.5% and now it becomes 1%, it's a very big deal for him. Because for him, marginal utility of money is more. Marginal utility of money is more. Why is marginal utility of money more for A? The marginal utility of money is more for A because A is poor, and every additional unit of money matters a lot to him. Okay, every additional unit matters a lot to him. For P, every additional unit of money is not that important because he has plenty of it, and A doesn't have plenty of money. So for A, every additional unit matters so much, due to which his marginal utility for every additional unit of money is more. For P, it is very less. That's why the law of demand that's why law of demand becomes the basis of progressive taxation. Now we know that how the law of demand is connected to law of diminishing marginal utility. So similarly, we can connect that to the progressive taxation. That's how it is connected. Progressive taxation, I connected progressive taxation to marginal utility, and we know how marginal utility is connected to the law of demand, like how we had understood in the first point. Now the last point. Now let's understand the last point, that is the diamond water paradox. The diamond water paradox. So what's happening in the diamond water paradox? In the diamond water, this is very easy. They're given an example. Water. Water is something that is very useful when compared to diamond, right? Water helps us when we're thirsty. What we look for? We look for water. We won't keep searching for diamonds. So, though water is more useful than diamond, still the why is the price of diamond very high when compared to water? This is the diamond water paradox. This is the diamond water paradox. So the paradox is that though water is more useful, diamond is more costly. The explanation of this particular phenomenon lies in the law of, again it lies in law of diminishing marginal utility, and we know that how diminishing marginal utility is connected to the law of demand. So that's how we're connecting it. So now let's understand how diamond water paradox is connected to the law of diminishing marginal utility. The marginal utility of water is very low. Why is the marginal utility of water very low? The marginal utility of water is sorry. Let me just rub this. Okay. Uh, Now see, the marginal utility of water is very low. The marginal utility of water is low because it is abundant. Okay, marginal utility is low because it is abundant. It's available. It's easily available. Whereas in case of diamond, the marginal utility is high. Why is the marginal utility high in case of diamond? The marginal utility is high in case of diamond because diamond is not easily available, right? It is rare. So with every additional unit, there is more satisfaction. Whereas in water, it's like so easily available that we don't value it much, right? That's why since the marginal utility of water is low and the marginal utility of diamond is high, this particular paradox arises. Since the supply of water is abundant, the marginal utility of water is low, and so is the price of water. Marginal utility of water is low, and so is the price of water. On the contrary, the supply of diamond is limited. Thus, the marginal utility of diamond is very high. Thus, the price of diamond is also very high. And this is the diamond water paradox. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please do like and subscribe. Thank you.